Welcome to Hickory Street Podcast. I'm Michael Zamora, and we are here with a longtime Denton musician and avid local music supporter, Mike Miller.
Glad to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Mike. So, why don't we just start with how you ended up in Denton? I know you told me one time you were from out of state, but I can't remember which state you said you were from.
Louisiana, where I went to high school and college.
Oh, okay.
Ruston, Louisiana. I lived there about 10 years. It's in the center of the state, the northern part.
Oh, okay. Cool. So where did you live before then? Did you live in another state before then?
Well, I was born in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's cool. So you spent like most of your childhood in St. Louis then?
Yeah, until I was 12. And that's the time when my dad died and my mom wanted to move back to North Louisiana where her family lived.
Oh, wow. Okay. Sorry to hear that. So your mom's family was from Louisiana then?
Yes.
Whenever you moved over there?
Yes.
How was living in Louisiana? Did you enjoy it? Were there things that you liked, didn't like about it?
Yeah, I liked living over there. It's a nice area. There are a lot of pine trees and rolling hills, and really, in ways, Louisiana Tech is kind of like just a smaller version of UNT. It's really similar, I think, in a lot of ways. They have a good music school there.
Cool. So, what did you study in college then? Was it music? Something music related?
English mainly. I majored in English and minored in music.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I was in an ensemble every semester, like the band or the choir or percussion ensemble.
Oh, wow. That must have been fun.
Yeah.
So, I know you talked about one time with me mentioning that you were originally a drummer. Is that correct?
Yeah, throughout high school I was a drummer and learned drum cadences, and then we did, I guess classical music during the concert season, and during the football season we did more like Herb Alpert music and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with his music. What kind of music is it?
Oh, he was a trumpet player who had so many hit songs. I can't remember that. And then like Green Onions. Have you ever heard that song?
No.
Oh, really? I don't know why, but we played that song every year. It was fun to play at the football games.
Cool. So were you in marching band then?
Yeah.
College? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and did drum cadences, and we played at the football games and got to go to a lot of the games. Most of the away games.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
The trips were fun.
Did you keep in touch with a lot of your classmates from college after you graduated, or was it what prompted you to move out, and how long after you graduated college?
Well, about the time I got out of college, I got married, and then we wanted to move somewhere where we could make better money, and have good jobs, and so I wanted to move out to California, really. I thought I would have had better opportunities because I just had the degree in English and I had taken technical writing, so I was looking to do something like that. But my wife didn't want to move that far away, and so we ended up in Dallas, which is a good financial center. There are a lot of good jobs for people in the financial fields, but...
Was she in the financial?
Yeah, she had a degree in accounting, and so she still does that kind of work, I think. But I taught at Tarrant County College for 4 years, and then a business school, and then I did government contracting, part of the FDIC, foreclosed housing and things like that. We were trying to get those houses back on the market, but I somehow worked for them 7 years. It was kind of a steady job, and we worked in the Frito-Lay building down in Dallas, but we had insurance, and I just did that until I finally got on with GTE and worked for them about 7 years, and that was interesting. And I worked out at the Hidden Ridge building. It was really a nice building where they shot Walker shows in this one part of the building. Those Walker TV shows.
Okay.
And so it was fun doing that. And then after that, I've just done projects, and I've just returned to retail, really, as something to have a little money coming in.
Yeah. Cool. So with your English degree, you really didn't ever go into teaching or anything like that?
Well, just at Tarrant County College.
Okay.
Yeah, I did that 4 years.
Okay.
I taught at North Lake one semester, developmental English, and then at this business school I taught English and business English, and then career development.
Oh, wow, that's pretty. So did you get your master's, or did you?
Yeah, I have a master's, and
okay.
And Louisiana Tech had a technical writing department, so I took those classes too. They had just created that new department, but I did some of that at Verizon, I guess, but I never really got going in that field. But when I first got out of college, I ran a resume writing service in North Dallas, and that was a lot of fun, and I had to interview people. They would come in and they have an old resume, and I would just glance over it and then just start asking them more about their background and so on, and developing a new resume for them.
Okay. How old were you around the time you moved to Dallas?
About 30 when I got out of college and all that.
Okay.
Started working at the resume service, and we lived in Irving for a number of years, and then we went through the divorce, and she moved to Plano, and so I moved to Carrollton just to be closer for my daughter. And then I began to hear more and more about Denton. Well, I took some classes for a few semesters. I took snare drum and then some voice lessons, and then had wanted to move up here, and so I moved up here in 2009 and just started going to open mics and working on recordings and things like that. And then I started the TV show at about that time.
Wow. So you were already like in your early 30s then, whenever you started to get involved in DFW music.
Yeah, and I began to read the Dallas Observer, and different magazines like that.
And like go out to shows and stuff through.
Yeah, where I could afford it. Yeah, Harder Rock. There was a newspaper that somebody put out called Harder Rock that had a lot of good editorials that told a lot about more of the metal bands and punk bands, I think, back in the day.
Cool. Was that the kind of music you were into back then?
Some. I was interested in finding out more about it, and I went to certain shows, but most of the music that I've composed has been kind of folk rock, I think.
Yeah, I would say that's a good characterization of your music. Did you do a lot of, did you get involved in any recording or anything back then during that period? Yeah,
about the time I got laid off early in my career from Verizon, I bought my first eMac at Fry, and it came with GarageBand, and so I just started re-recording songs that I had written on my Tascam Porta 1. I used that back in the day, yeah. And it was always kind of a hassle to use. And I hardly ever put many tracks on my recordings back then, so. But supposedly, I think there were ways you could put 16 tracks on the 4 that were in there or something. I don't know what.
Oh, yeah, I think there's a way on a 4-track recorder, you can bus tracks together.
Yeah.
And so you can have, you can record using, one input and then bus it in another input and then record something over it.
Yeah.
And then just repeat the process.
Yeah.
So that you can have I think you can have up to 3 or 4 bust tracks on one.
Yeah, in each one. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and I never got that far into it, but But it was fun, and you begin to learn the basics about recording, I guess, at least. And I just recorded some of those songs. I didn't have an interface at first, and I was just trying to sit in front of my computer and sing and play, and then add a drum track, or some percussion of some kind. But I bought an Audio One, I think it's called, or something, and started using that interface at least.
Oh, Studio One, I think this was your...
Really?
Yeah, I think that's what you're referring to, yeah.
Yeah. It was supposedly compatible with Mac and GarageBand, so...
So were you still composing, stuff in your own time while you were in college or in high school? Well,
I just started kind of later in college, really, to record and try to write songs. And then while I was married, before I got married, I was playing in 4 bands. And then after I got married, I realized that she didn't like me going out and staying out late, and coming in so late and all that. So that's where I started focusing more on just writing songs. I just stayed home and tried to write and learn more about recording.
Yeah. Was it around that time period, I guess you would have been fairly busy, at that point, trying to manage a family, working full time.
Yeah.
That must have been pretty difficult to do. And not many people can manage those things all at once.
Yeah, and I would do most of my recording whenever she would say, I'm going to the mall or something like that, So then...
in the couple hours of free time?
Yeah, some free time where nobody's listening, or in the other room washing dishes, and just... Or like she would go home for certain holidays, like maybe the 4th of July, and I would just stay home and record all weekend.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've done something similar. I'm not necessarily like in a long-term relationship kind of sense, but there would be times where my family, like in high school, like they would be. They would decide to go out shopping or something for a long period of time, and they would ask me if I would, wanted to go, and I wasn't really interested in, either buying some new shirts or like a new video game or something, just with my own money, because I started working when I was 16, and so that didn't really interest me, and I didn't really care if my parents wanted to buy me like clothes or something. Like, it just didn't really interest me, so I would just stay home and play guitar.
Yeah.
Just that was sort of what I enjoyed to do in my free time, like away from family obligations. But,
oh yeah, that's that golden time. Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're all gone and.
So. Well, that's cool. Was it kind of? Would you say it got easier or a little bit more difficult after you had a child getting involved in music? Was it? I mean, of course, I'm sure you were a focused father, but was it also
like on my weekends, we would just, that's when I started watching a lot of Sesame Street, and the Disney Channel and things like that, and just I've watched a lot of those shows like that with her, and began to relearn a lot of children's songs and things like that, I guess, just. But Ringo was on Sesame Street as the conductor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah. And I didn't know that. So, but you were, you still found time, to do it.
Yeah, on my weekends I would practice and record and so on. And then on the weekends with my daughter, we would watch the Sesame Street shows and whatever,
Did she ever get interested in music? Did she play music?
Well, as a kid, she seemed to have a lot of talent, especially in percussion. But and she sang in high school. She sang a solo one time, I think, in about the 7th grade, a Linda Ronstadt song, and I thought she did a real good job. And
cool.
She took several years of piano lessons, but it was just the kind of lessons where you learn to play by reading.
Okay.
To not jam, and
right.
things like that. But
okay, like she learned how to read music.
Yeah, she had some recitals and played some pretty sophisticated pieces, I thought, but which I never could do. I never was able to read at that level. Yeah,
I don't even know how to read music. A lot of people are confused by that whenever I tell them that. But yeah, I learned guitar entirely on my own just by like watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And even then, like there would be some times where I would just learn songs by ear once I got good enough. Like felt more comfortable with the instrument. But everybody learns their own way. But yeah, my brother took piano lessons for a little while, and he enjoyed it. I think he doesn't do it anymore though. Just he's kind of been more oriented towards technology.
Yeah.
Which, I can definitely see the appeal. It's just never been something that I necessarily enjoy. Although I am very curious as to programming. I've talked to a lot of friends of mine who are into programming.
Yeah.
And just understanding a lot of the theory that goes into it.
Yeah.
I feel like I understand it, but like actually putting it into practice is a whole other deal. Like I have a friend of mine who's making a website right now. And he like sort of explains like, I've just been watching YouTube videos and figuring out how to do it, and it's really not that hard. And I was like, oh, okay. So this is something you could, people can pick up. Apparently, I'm sure there's different levels of, advancement just with everything else, just like everything else. But that's cool. So, did you around the time you moved to Dallas and you were kind of getting acquainted with people in the music scene and writing songs, during that point did you start a group? Did you do any like formal recordings that you released?
No, not really. While I was married, I never really I jammed with a few people. I auditioned for a few things. Like one time I saw this ad in the Dallas Observer, and it was a guy who was an Elvis impersonator. And he said he was looking for a drummer, so I called him up and we talked, and he came out. And when he came out to my house, he was dressed like Elvis. So my neighbors across the street, were sitting on the porch.
So he came over dressed like Elvis. That's hilarious.
I know it. I couldn't believe he had his hair.
I would have been so confused. Like, I know you do this, but you don't have to walk around like it all the time.
He was into it, yeah. And he said he went to Mexico once a year, and they would have a big party in a certain town and like bring an elephant.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. But
so you drummed for him for a while?
No, that never worked out. I don't know what if his plans changed or he just didn't like me or whatever. But we never really had a rehearsal even.
Oh wow!
But he did come out and talk. But I met a few other people, like just through ads. It was really hard for me to meet people. I used to go to the open mic at Club Dada, and then at this other club that was open on Monday night, the Fallout Club down there by the state, close to the State Fair area.
Okay.
That part of Deep Ellum, way down there. But I lost my train of thought.
We were talking about getting involved in groups.
Oh, yeah. And I auditioned for Donnie Ray Ford. Have you ever heard of him?
I have not, no.
Yeah, he was a Dallas musician, and he's still around. He was on my TV show. And he was real nice, and his drummer had left or something, and then his drummer came back, and they never actually used me, but we had a couple of rehearsals, and then I found him again later on Facebook, and brought him into the TV show, and he had several bands, I think, over the years, and was a real popular entertainer in the Deep Ellum area back in the day. I can't remember the name of his band, but a few other people I worked with. We used to meet down at DLP rehearsal studios. It was about like $30 a night, and you could have a room.
Okay.
That was in Irving, really close to Dallas, somewhere down there, the southern Irving part.
Like a practice room?
Yeah, practice room.
Okay.
Yeah. And I knew several people that we just would meet down there as a group, and set things up and play songs and sometimes record, but usually just work on things. And then I played with these chiropractors, two brothers, and we worked up a set. But about the time we were getting ready to play, we had a big falling out. So,
sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
So
I just kept writing songs. It seemed like I couldn't really find a band to play with, and it was always hard being a drummer who wanted to sing, and so I gradually learned guitar so I could. That's why I do the open mics, just so I can play guitar and sing, but I've been glad to get to go to more jams here lately, and I really enjoyed going to Guitar George Jam over there at Reds. He's had those the past few months, and that's where I'm going tonight later, but
okay.
They have a drum set there and all that, and I usually get to play about 4 songs, and he's with the High School Caesars, and he's played with Big Daddy Albright, and I forgot the Guitar George Trio, and he plays on the square sometimes at the car shows.
Okay, cool.
Things like that.
Yeah, I actually, one time I was on a run, and I stumbled into the square during one of the car shows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, what's happening here? So that was kind of funny.
It's pretty impressive. People from all over the area bring their nice cars down to the square,
Yeah. I ran into a few friends of mine that they had already been scoping it, been keeping track of it, and they were out there, and it was like, oh yeah, I was just on a run, and just stopped, checked out some of the cars. Apparently, a lot of the people that show up there are all local, they own their own body shops and stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when did you start to pick up on some of the radio gigs? Because I know here in Denton, at least you're very active with Kuzu. Were you involved in any other radio stations before then? Whenever you lived out in Irving or anything?
No, I never did. I had started working through Denton Community Television to do those TV shows, and then when Kuzu began to get organized and all that a few years back, I just was seeing it in the press, that they were forming that station, and so I applied and went to a meeting, and then I just asked if I could do a show similar to what I had done on TV, where I just interview people and then they play some songs, So they said yes, and then it's the FCC rule, I think, that limits it to 4 songs, either 4 or 3, I can't remember. Excuse me, but so I do it like that, except that it's a 1-hour show. The TV shows are 30 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, I got involved with Kuzu, and that was the first station I had ever worked at.
And how long ago did you get involved?
About 4 years. I think
4
I'm a
years?
4-year person, with them now. I think I got in just about at the very beginning. They had, I actually was on at midnight the first week they were going. I did that show down at the station, and then all the rest of them, I just did them at home and submitted it to them.
Cool. How many episodes have you done with Kuzu in the 4 years?
I think about 25 or 30.
Okay.
And I've rerun some of the better ones, and then I think some got lost out of the system somehow, but I might still have recordings on my computers. But it takes a lot of time. I finally gotten to where I can do them a little quicker, but I used to spend hours editing. But I guess like with anything, as time goes by, you get faster with it and learn what not to do.
Right, and get better at it.
Yeah,
things have changed a lot. I know, I guess at one point in the earlier days, it was very common for people to stress radio play of their music, and like that was a big way that up and coming bands would get a lot of traction as far as like submitting their music to college radio stations.
Oh yeah.
And now it seems like that's something that is not nearly as necessary anymore for up and coming bands. There's, it's so much easier to find someone online than it is to, find someone through like a college radio submission. Just a play on a college radio, so a lot of things have changed, but I'm definitely. Oh, you're good. I'm definitely glad to hear that Kuzu still gets a lot of local attention. I've talked to so many friends of mine, and they keep that station on all the time in their car. I'll tune to it every now and then if I just get kind of tired of listening to podcasts or my own music, just to have a change of pace. And they have a good variety of different shows and stuff too, so
they do. I listen to it at home quite a bit, and in my car also, and just because it's different. You never know what to expect. They
do a really good job of covering multiple genres. And, and then just the jazz segment, just whenever they play jazz music, it's always nice and relaxing. So but cool. So let's talk about your most recent show. I'm not sure if you have a name for it. The show that you're doing at UNT now.
Oh, the TV show there at that studio?
Yeah, the TV show. I know you've been doing that for a long time, and you guys have moved facilities, right? Yeah,
we were in a much smaller studio. Over in the Mayborn building, or part of whatever that building is, General Academic Building.
Right.
Downstairs in that studio, but now we're in what do you remember the name of that hall? Cochran Hall, or
I don't remember.
I can't remember, but anyway, so we've been over there since COVID ended the TV shows for almost a year. I wasn't allowed to go back down there, and they didn't have anybody who could film, and then we ended up with a new film person, and that's who you met. And Dean, he's been real enthusiastic, and
I ran into him at QT recently, and he's
At what?
At Quick Trip.
Oh, yeah.
The gas station. I ran into him there the other day, and we were talking about just some of the shows that they have running through the channel that you guys put up there or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's really, it seems like he's working to get some of those shows replaced with different kinds of shows. So
Yeah.
that would be cool. So when did you start doing this television series up at UNT? Whenever you guys were in the smaller room, how long ago was that?
It was actually about, I think some of the first shows were 2009 and 2010.
So around the time you moved out here.
Yeah,
Okay.
as soon as I moved to Denton, I joined the Thin Line Film Fest.
Okay.
I was like a paying member or whatever, and so I got to use some of their facilities, and Josh Butler was teaching me a little about, what's that software they used? Premiere editing.
Okay, I think I know. Yeah, it's like a video editing program.
Yeah.
I think that's right, Premiere.
And I just told Josh one day, I said, I've always wanted to do a TV show where I interviewed people, like musicians, interview some musicians and let them play some music, and ask if he thought we could do something like that. He was the director of Denton Community TV at that point, or the focal point at least. But so a few weeks later, he just told me, he said, go ahead and invite somebody and we'll film one of those shows. So Isaac Hoskins was actually my very first guest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a very nice person. I appreciated him doing that. But yeah, we were in the old Charter studio, and it was just full of props. That room had been used for a TV studio for years, and there were just mannequins and lamps and curtains rolled up, and I think we tried a little bit too much movement in the filming. We got like butt shots and stuff.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
And I don't know nobody edited those first few shows. Josh didn't have time, and I didn't know how to, so
it was just whatever we got kind of a thing. That's funny. Wow. So
but I did a lot of the shows in 2012, 13, and 14 is when I was really pushing it seems like, I really brought in a wide variety. I was meeting more and more people and contacted people, and most people were willing to do it. So I was kind of shocked, but it was really fun and a lot of work. They would bring amps and all this up there, and I had to help bring the amps down. We were downstairs at the time, and it's a lot of walking too, because of where you have to park up there. Everything's so strict. And that's still the case even at the new studio, but
yeah, they're pretty quick about it too.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, yeah.
I know whenever we went down there, around the time we realized our time was up for parking, we walked out to the parking lot, and sure enough, there was a guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, already in the parking lot, just waiting for it to switch over. So
yeah, and I think they try to give another round of tickets every day at about 4 o'clock because they close at 5. So they're just going to go ahead and write some more tickets, before they leave for the day. And
yeah, whenever you think about how much money UNT makes probably from just impounding cars.
Oh yeah,
it's probably,
they make a ton on those. Used to they had those parking meters, but those tickets are pretty expensive.
Definitely can be, yeah. Well, cool. So, does this television series have a name? I don't think I've.
The Other Side.
The Other Side is what it's called. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad we got that out there. That way, people that are listening can go check it out.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is there? Are there any plans you have specifically for this upcoming year? Have you already booked, more more episodes for the other side, or are you doing anything with Kuzu? Or
Well, I've mainly been focusing on some re-releases. The last, really for about a year or so ago, I began working with Jonah Trackman. I don't know if you know him. I do
not know.
Met him around here, and he's really a good musician, a good guitar player, and he was on the TV show too. But he has re-recorded several of my songs, like Whiskey Talking, Strangers in Danger, People of the Streets, and then I just always wanted to do a project where I mainly just sang. So I'm mainly singing on these recordings, and I've been really fortunate to have Charla Franklin has put some fiddle on several of my songs, and Bailey Anderson as well.
Okay, I do know who Bailey is. Ramiro introduced me to him because I guess he was Ramiro's violinist.
Yeah,
right. So cool. Well,
and I'm getting some other people, some other vocalists on there too. James Dolly added.
He's going to be doing one too.
Yeah, he added some vocals on a couple of songs.
Fun. That'll be fun. So does that have a release date yet, or are you still just working on it?
Well, we're getting closer and closer. I'm hoping to release some of them within the next few weeks. I can't figure out if I should. Like, some of the songs are re-releases, and then 2 or 3 of them have not been released yet. So I'm trying to figure out if I could do like an album, or maybe just release an EP and then some singles, but I'm still doing some research on that, and I'm trying to decide if I want to use CD Baby again, or maybe go to Disco Kid or something like that.
Okay, cool. Have you, so besides this release, are there any other places you have your own music that you've tried to record over the years?
Well, I do have those. My first 3 albums and my 4th album are on CD Baby. Mike Miller CD Baby, and my first album out there is The Magic Moonbeams, and the second one is Summer's End.
Okay.
And then Crossroad Connections, and the last album is Spinning Out of Control.
Cool. And you released those just under your name, Mike Miller?
Yeah, Mike Miller, yeah. And the last one, Spinning Out of Control, I released that in 2015, and I just shared the information, like on Facebook. And I think for those first 3 albums, that's back in the MySpace days.
Yeah.
It was like 2009 when I released 3 albums that year after I started recording on my eMac, and I had so many songs I didn't know what to do, so I just released those 3 albums about a month or 2 apart. And at that point, I felt like that was most of my best songs at that time,
Right.
And I've continued singing some of those, but some of them I don't perform around here too much.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on and doing this. This was a lot of fun. I usually try to keep the episodes like under an hour. That way, people can digest it quickly and move on to whatever else they want to check out. But I appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate getting to be. I've never really been interviewed by anybody else in all these years.
Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
This is the first.
You've been interviewing people for so long now. I figured somebody would have taken notice. But well, cool. Thanks for doing this. I will see you around. Maybe I'll come out and play another open mic soon.
For sure, yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.